Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is a new bill that's getting proposed in Holyrood, which will change the lives of those with addiction issues that are trying to resolve them. Yesterday, I done a podcast with Annemarie Ward of Favour Charity. They help people with addiction issues try and get best support and remedy their issues. And while I was there, we discussed her recent visit to Holyrood, where she was joined by Douglas Ross, where they launched the Air Bill details. And Douglas Ross is going to put this to Parliament in a Members' Bill. So it will need support, and in the video clip I'm just going to show you in a second or two, Anne-Marie explains what the bill is, why it's needed, and more importantly, what you can do to help and what we can all do to help this bill get through and become law. So, Anne-Marie, you were up at Holyrood last week. How was that, and what was it for, and what happens next with that experience?
Well, we were there to launch the Right to Recovery Bill, which was a bill written by me and a guy called Stevie Wishart, and we get help obviously from some lawyers who were very sympathetic, who had seen lots of people come forward to get help for addiction and not be able to access it. So we've tried in many ways to change the addiction treatment system, and because Stevie and these lawyers had experience of homelessness and how the homeless system in Scotland has changed, we put our minds together and came up with this bill. So we were launching the bill. Obviously, it was Douglas Ross that is launching it as a members' bill for the Tory party. And we were there just presenting it basically to the Parliament. It'll now go to a health committee, and there'll be the first stage. So with any bill, there's 3 stages. The first stage, in each stage it has to get enough votes in order to progress into the next stage. So we'll start to see the parliamentarians talk about it. There'll probably be stuff in the press about it. But what I really need people today, ordinary working class people, is to vote for it, to tell their MSPs to vote for it. So I need them to write to their MSPs and to ask their MSPs to support the Right to Recovery Bill.
So the bill, first thing is, what does it change and why do we need it?
Right, well, currently if you approach addiction services and you ask for, a lot of services like detox, for instance, or community rehab or residential rehab, and other stuff as well, like various other harm reduction interventions, it can be really, really hard to get access to them, and it's impossible to get a choice. Currently in this country, it's the rich that get rehab, the poor get methadone, and if it's booze, it's really hard to get anything other than anti-abuse, which is a medicine that makes you sick if you drink on top of it. So it's really hard to get services that can help you get freedom from dependency, so like medical detox services, community rehab, residential rehab, as I said. So, trauma services, a lot of people who end up in addiction have, they've got, a lot of trauma that's usually what leads to addiction in the first place. So services that can help us get freedom from dependency are really, really limited in Scotland. So this bill would change that. It would give people the opportunity to challenge whoever's making the decision. So currently at the moment, as everybody knows on the ground, that if you're asking for help, it's really, really difficult to get it. Like, we've got people who have been on, substitute prescriptions for 20 and 30 years, and we're not saying that, substitute prescriptions are bad. We're saying like they're absolutely got a part to play. Like, there's a continuum of care here, but the majority of the investment in our addiction treatment services currently goes into what the industry calls harm reduction interventions. They also call those interventions treatment, but when the public thinks about treatment, they think about rehab, quite rightly. So there's this difference with the language, like what the public understands and what the industry says. So currently, if the industry tells you that you're not ready for detox or you're not ready for rehab, you've got to go with that decision. what this bill would do would be allow you to challenge that decision, to say, well, actually, I do think I'm ready and I would really like to change that. We all know people that have been on methadone for 20, 30 years. We all know people who have got alcohol addiction who have never been able to access rehab. Or to even to access a detox service, you know, which is the very basic, you know, like I'd spin dry, like I'd get dried out, because alcohol will kill you if you try and withdraw from it on your own. You know, there's no more dangerous drug as far as a withdrawal is concerned. Like alcohol is the most dangerous drug to withdraw from. So, you know, we want to help people get freedom from dependency. We want to empower them to be able to do that and take the power away to a certain extent from the current decision makers. You know, we're big believers in personal responsibility. We know that when we reach out for help, we actually want help to get freedom, to get unaddicted, and currently our services are not helping us do that.
So, in layman's terms, right, I follow most of that. Just some words because you know you're a specialist in this, and you believe you run a charity as well that helps people with addiction issues. So, is it basically fair to say that currently the vast majority of people with addictions, when they get help, there's some tablets and medicine?
I think that's completely fair to say.
And the minority is actually help, as in psychological help and rehab and putting people through. And is that what you're trying to turn around, or at least give people the option of?
Aye, so we're trying to balance the investment. So 95% or more actually of the investment is going into those harm reduction interventions.
Which is like giving somebody methadone, is that?
Aye, and it, you know, that tries to help people use drugs or alcohol in a safer way. What we're arguing for is not to stop doing that. We don't want to stop doing that. We don't want money taken away from those interventions. But what we're arguing for is a balance. So we're also saying that, you know, we want the same investment getting put into services that help people get freedom from dependency. And, you know, we want that hope that people can actually recover to be part of the system again. It used to be, it is part of the system in England. So, you know, we want people to be able to access services.
So there you go. I hope you found that interesting. And if you want to help Annemarie and her charity in their ambition to get this bill passed into law, then I'll put some links in the description below where you can help her and the charity get this bill pushed through Parliament. I'm kind of hoping, after talking to Annemarie, that because addiction, there's very, very few people in Scotland, due to the size of the problem, there's very, very few people in Scotland who don't know someone close to them who's either passed away or struggling with addiction problems just now. So it's a topic that affects almost every single layer of society. But as Annemarie said in the video, the rich get rehab, the poor get methadone. So it doesn't seem to be dealt with equally across the spectrum of society, and hopefully this bill can enable more people to get the proper help that they need to suit their needs and their wishes. So, you know, please consider supporting Annemarie in her quest. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing. And unless you're anybody that stands in the way of this bill, everybody else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.